And when you speak to a financial advisor, if he's only talking about the money, he's not talking about your financial plan, because there's a reason why you want to accumulate all this money. It's not just to have a statement. Because if you just want to have a statement, you can go to Microsoft Word, you can put my statement and type in $1 billion if you want to, and walk around and tell everybody, hey, I have $1 billion on paper, right? What does that do? It doesn't do anything, right? Money on paper is just your available resources. What time and effort have you put in? What value have you put into the world? And how does that reflect onto your assets, right? What can you buy with those assets? But at the end of the day, it's what do you want to do with those assets? Does it give you a sense of financial security? Does it pay for your health costs? Is that going to help you retire happily by paying off all of your debt or being able to help out family members? What are you going to do with the money is what you need to think about first. That's what people think about goals. When we say goals, it's not an accumulation goal. I want 3 million, I want 5 million, I want 10 million. That's a money goal. And that's one type of goal. But what are you going to do when you get it? Because you have to spend it. It's not like you get $5 million and that's it. You're not going to spend it or take any money out. That's worthless, right? Because that money is going to go to somebody else. And what are they going to do? They're going to spend it. So we want to have a plan for you to spend it. So how does that work? You say, hey, my goal is to get $5 million because I want to give $1 million to each one of my kids, maybe for a down payment for a house, help them get settled, maybe transition out of college if they do well. Those are the type of conversation you're going to have with your financial advisor. And your financial advisor is going to show you different investment vehicles, different strategies, and how to move your money around so you can accomplish those goals in the most efficient way possible, because you can do it. But is it going to be the most cost-effective way? And is it going to be efficient is going to be the question. That's why you want to work with a financial advisor who understands the rules and regulations around these different accounts. Because some people may say, put into a Roth IRA. Well, what if you make too much money and you can't contribute? Now you may have to do a backdoor Roth IRA. Well, how does the backdoor Roth IRA work? Well, now you're down a rabbit hole trying to understand a product that you easily can get the information from a professional who actually does it on a day-to-day basis. And you can save yourselves months of education. And that's why I love the financial plan, because things are actually going to get harder before they get easier. Why? Because working with a financial advisor, you're forced to answer those questions that maybe you were afraid to answer. What happens if my spouse passes away? What happens if one of my children pass away? What am I going to do with my assets if my mother gets sick or my father gets sick? What if I have an elderly parent that needs to go into hospice? How are we going to maneuver their assets to make sure that they're comfortable? All those things are going to be very uncomfortable questions to ask. But if you can answer those when you're in a better mind state, you won't be so overwhelmed when you're in those situations. I said before, during those life transitions, those life stages, those life events, that's where you need to be present. You don't need to be thinking about your finances. You want to make that decision in the present time and not worry about money, but you have to think about it first. It gets hard to develop your will and understand how much your assets are going to go to your kids and have to think about your dying date. Now, when are you going to die? I don't know. I tell my clients all the time, if we make a financial plan and you could tell me when you're going to die, we'll put that date there and we'll change your probability. But typically what we do, we say, hey, listen, we want you to plan like you're living forever, but we want you to live like you're dying today. So that means that during the financial plan, that's where we get to dream. That's where we get to buy the houses that we want and travel the way that we want to. And then we say, what's the probability of us having that and how do we reach it? Do we need to work longer? Do we need to save more? Or are we fine and we don't need to do anything and we can retire today if we want to? But we need to answer those questions prior to executing, because guess what? If the financial plan doesn't come out correctly, we can adjust the financial plan. But if you make that decision too soon or you execute, you can't go back. So if you take money out of your 401k without rolling it over to another IRA, you're going to get that tax implication and there's no rolling that back. Think about this. With a financial plan, we are teaching you how to think, not what to think. This is your money. This is your choice. We are teaching you how to think about it. What are some of the complications around your 401k? What are some of the rules you need to follow? What's an indirect versus a direct rollover? How does that affect your taxes? How does that affect how much money is going to be in your account? All those are going to be vital questions, but we are teaching you how to think about your money, not necessarily what to think about your money. I will never tell you what to do with your money, but I will tell you what you could do with your money, and we will make the best decision with the information we have available. The thing is, we cannot predict the future, as I said many, many times, But what we can do is make the best decision with the best available information. If we only have a limited amount of information, we'll only be able to make a limited amount of choices. With a financial advisor, it expands the information that you have, which consequently expands your financial choices that you have, which gives you more opportunity, which gives you more flexibility, which actually makes things a lot easier to choose. Financial advisors help